What is your experience, and what does this movement mean to you? With all the uprisings, with everything that has been happening since the murder of George Floyd that we all witnessed, how has this impacted you? And please feel free, anyone, to just chime in.
Well, this takes me back to the time of civil rights. I grew up in Selma, Alabama, and this was the time when there was segregation. We didn't have any rights. Um, and we had taken it and taken it and we had done stuff and we ended up, getting beat to the side and nothing happens. Pretty much like what you see every day, with black guys getting shot down, and we upset for a little bit, and then we just going on back to doing things normal. But this particular time was when we had decided we wanted to look into having people have some rights to vote, because all the people that was in charge were people who were like Jim Clark, who was like the chef, and he could come. Excuse me, I'm just going to take this phone out. uh, anyway, he could come in and beat people. He can order the Ku Klux Klan to come in and ride and burn crosses. In fact, the Ku Klux Klan was people that was your everyday people, your people that was out in businesses that you traded with. At night, they come and they have the sheets on and they ride through the neighborhood and terrorize Black people. And this was a normal occurrence. When I was young, I used to just see them coming, and there's the kids running the house. Here they come, because you know they're coming, and if they come in front of your house and they burn a cross, that means that you're gonna have to be out of town by the next morning. And I was really young, and I would come up and peek through the little shade so I can just take a look at them. And as far as you can see, it was carloads and carloads of people, white sheets, people driving with white sheets on with little holes cut in, and you can see them. And I saw them, go next door to me and burn the cross in front of my next door neighbor's house. And we were all scared it was going to be our house. I mean, and it burned that cross, and they all got out and they watched it burn. And then they get out, and we all knew they didn't have to say much. We knew that family had to go. And so we would see stuff like this, like we go in a store and we'd be standing to be waited on, and a white person walks in front of us, they can just go first, and we just have to stand back and wait for our time. Or we get to go on the bus. And I remember I was really young. I got on the bus and I went straight to the first seat I could see. And there was this little white girl, and we looked at each other and smiled. And when my mom paid the fare, she came and snatched me up right away, and took me right back to the back. And when the back of the bus get filled, we had to stand up, let the white people sit down. It was just, walking in the sidewalk, and you want to pass a white person, they had to have the sidewalk. You had to stand over to the side and let them pass. And this was just normal, everyday occurrence. I mean, it was just like a way of life for us. But a few of the high school young people, just like yourselves, I mean, you guys are a little bit higher than, I mean, a little bit older than high school. But I was like 15, and they started talking about let's fight for our freedom. At this point, it was just like, okay, we're living almost like we're dead. It's about time we do something. Our parents couldn't vote. They had like teachers could not vote. There was 150 people that was vote, and these people were people that was like uh, their um, white people had to come and vouch for them to vote. Anybody and everybody could not come and vote. So these are the kind of things we wanted. We wanted to go to a restaurant and not have to go to the back of the restaurant. If you wanted something, you had to go to the back of the restaurant. And the whole time there was a black man in the kitchen cooking. It was like, so this is crazy. Anyway, we as students started to organize, and we then hooked up with the organization. Well, we had organized before Sneak came in, and then they kind of helped us with our organization, which meant that we was going to be going out to places and protesting, not protesting, but going in and see if they would serve us, and we did. And they're just like, we don't serve your kind in here. And then when the big part came was when we decided in order to change this, we needed to have people be able to vote. That was the only thing that's going to change something. And so that's when we decided, or they decided, and I followed, was the movement of the 50-mile march from Selma, Alabama to Montgomery, Alabama. And we made 3 attempts, and you probably already heard about the Bloody Sunday.
Yes,
Bloody
yes.
Sunday, but before Bloody Sunday, we had, you know, made attempts. Bloody Sunday came when we made that attempt, and they just like was waiting for us with billy clubs and on horseback and tear gas. And I mean, it was just, you can see your grandma being hit in the head, and all the rest of them was running around, trying to hold their eyes, and they was just like nailing them with clubs and anything, we went through that. But the next time, I mean, it was scary, but we were so determined to change things. The very next day or so, we was back in that line again, talking about marching across that bridge because we wanted to go to the Capitol and let them know that we did not want to live like this. And the thing that, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but the thing that made this different and makes this almost like, what made a difference was that when they beat us and the cameras were there seeing this stuff happen to us, the world saw it, and it was no longer a secret that we kept in our city. And I can see the same thing happen here up until now. It was the same thing, get a few people in the same thing. But the thing is, it's even bigger. That was in a little state, some white people came and joined us, and that was a great thing. But what I'm seeing now, and I'm really hopeful about, is that if I mention that 2 times yesterday and today in my own neighborhood, there are white people out, Chinese people, and every nationality out there protesting because they see what is happening here. And I think the exposure is there. And I think where we have to do from here, voting is the number one thing, because after that, we was in it we had voting rights after we got our heads beat and feel that some laws changed and we got our voting rights. That voting right, we went from 150 people that was registered voters to 7,000 in 9 months.
Wow.
And we was able to get Jim Clark out of there.
Mm.
We was able to move superintendents, and the whole scene changed because they were powerless without the votes, and we were a lot of people. And so I'm seeing the same thing here. A lot of us, won't go out and vote because it's like, my vote won't matter. But a lot of us, if you look back on the history, there were a lot of people that was killed in that movement. One particular guy that started the whole movement was Jimmy Lee Jackson. He went out to register people to vote, and they ended up beating him. No, they didn't beat him. They shot and killed him. And that was the one that really made us all stand up and say, no, we're not going to do this no more. All he wanted to do that one thing. So anyway, that was the beginning. And it's the same thing that's happened here. Is one person that's really making a difference here. Although he lost his life, he started a movement. And I think what we see here is where, and I compared it to, is we got that right, and we kind of like sat back and thinking everything was okay. But same thing can happen again here. So what we have to do is, even though they might remove some of the cops or whatever, that's not the end of it. That's just the beginning. We have to keep moving, make sure those laws change, and don't let them appease us with a couple of bad people get off the squad. No, we have to make sure, those jails are addressed. All of this is a form of slavery, but we cannot just stop. We have to continue, and I think the young people at that time was the one that carried it forward. And now we are really looking for the youth. The youth are the ones that they're if you look around you, all the people now that are leading us are the youth, and you guys know the way out of this. We don't holler until our voices are not even heard anymore, but you guys are the ones that's going to take us out of this. And I'm really hopeful, from what I'm seeing. The difference is I see hope, because everybody, if the pandemic had not happened, we wouldn't have this much people involved. So in some ways, we can begin to look at this in a different way. Everything happens for a reason. That's one thing so far, but if you continue to go through this, you see that. But you all can take a part in this.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Mama Rose. That was so wonderful. I needed to hear that so very much. I needed to hear that. Would anyone else like to chime in, Angel or NaQueen Jones?
I just want to thank Miss Rose for giving what she just gave us as far as a perspective. I feel like I'm constantly processing this whole, like, first the pandemic, then I felt like my mind is going and going and going, and because you don't know what's going on, and then this. But you saying how basically everybody has to pay attention to it because people aren't at work. There's no, there's no sports. You have no choice. We have to pay attention to it, which is, you're right. It's probably divine. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It needed to come up.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my whole life, I'm 41, my whole life, and especially when I had that youthful fire, that's all we was talking about was exactly what's going on right now. This is what we wanted. This is what we were singing about. We were chanting about. I came up on, in the fight to power late 80s. That's when I was coming into my, so I feel like we've been talking about it all this time. And for me, I'm a mom. I have 2 daughters, and I kind of raised them to be like, hey, we deserve these things. We deserve equality. I've been saying these things the whole time. So I'm so proud of the youth right now. I am. I know it's been a while where people were like, oh, these 20-year-olds are so lazy, and they're so entitled, and they have everything brought to them now because they could just this and that order stuff. But look at them. They're out there doing it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And me, I'm at the point where I'm like, I can't really be out there like I would want to be, partially because I'm a little bit older, but also I've dealt with chronic illness for a long time. I can't like really be in big crowds. And so I'm just like very, very happy to watch them take that torch and run with it. I'm super pleased at the global response. So pleased at just seeing like all over the world, my New Zealand family, like my everywhere. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. So I have my days where it goes hour by hour, where sometimes I'm like down because the overstimulation of watching, and another one happened in East Oakland, and you know what I mean? The battle weary. But then I have hours where I'm just like cheesing. You know what I mean? Because I'm seeing like all of the things money getting diverted over here. Yay, there's small victories. Watching those statues come down. What? Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've been waiting for that like my whole entire life. I could watch that in a loop. Just everywhere. Montage. That's where I'm at with that. So, just riding the waves on the roller coaster. Super grateful for you, Miss Rose, who came before and put in the footwork. My father's actually from Mobile, Alabama. He was born in the mid 50s. Always told me about, and showed me. I've been there. you know, this is the separate water fountain, and you know, and when he used to, they used to drive to New Orleans for Mardi Gras a lot, and he was telling me how they couldn't sleep in the hotels; they had to sleep on the side of the road, and he had 4 siblings, you know, they couldn't eat, and they had to pack their lunch, you know, to drive, and their dinner because they couldn't go to restaurants and stuff like that. So just to see like an overturning of all of this, I feel like it's hard and it's heart wrenching sometimes, you know, seeing like kids get hit with rubber bullets and stuff like that. You know, so that part, but also I feel like it's been needed. It's necessary and it's exhausting, but we got a long way to go. Like you said, there's the laws. All of these things need to get turned over. The jail, all of the prisoners need to be relooked at. You know what I mean? All their files, every single education needs to be just flipped over on its head. Mm-hmm. And we need to write our own curriculum. And you know what I mean? We need to be able to run our own. I want some money too. I do. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna let somebody else talk now. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that was so beautiful. I agree with everything you said. It has just been waves and waves, different waves of emotion. I too have not been able to get out there the way I would have been back in the day. But I am, yes, just so happy that, and just joyous that the youth are taking the helm and moving it forward and hitting the streets and doing that work. And so with that, Angel, would you like to say, what are your thoughts, Angel?
Honestly, I have known that, you know, that racism is here in America and everything, but to actually just experience it and just, because I've never had this type of, you know, like protests and stuff. This hasn't happened during my lifetime. It's different being in it and being out there than watching it and reading in history books. Like when I went to 2 protests, one in Oakland, both of them were in Oakland, and one was at night when it was a little bit more rowdy, and the other one was more peaceful. And, you know, when I first went out there, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm doing something, you know, I'm like, I'm out here, I'm here for my people. But then after a while, when I came home, I was really overwhelmed by everything. And I was just thinking like, okay, I feel like this, you know, the protest it might be over soon, you know, in a few weeks or months. And then what? I'm like, it's going to go back to normal. And I feel like we just have to be organized and just be disciplined and just really be consistent on what we want. Like, obviously we have, you know, everybody's attention with all of the protests. And I just feel like we need to do something like with the laws and really just, you know, go for it, because it's just going to stop and be like, oh, remember in 2020, it was, you know, it was crazy then, and then it's going to be forgotten about, like Rodney King. Like, I feel like we have to stay on it, and then things will really change. That's why I reached out to Auntie Holly, because my mom told me that, you know, that she's been involved with protests before. So I'm like, okay, you know, we have the fight, you know, we are angry, and, you know, we have everything, but at the same time, we don't know everything. I can admit that, you know, we're young and we don't know everything. So we definitely need whatever guidance that the elders will give us, and take it, you know, because they have the wisdom. We don't. Some things we may know differently how to work things, but yeah, it's really frustrating, because and it's just really sad. It shouldn't be like this, and it shouldn't be normal for us. So I'm really frustrated. But I think about a lot of what I can do, you know, maybe look up certain laws. It just seems like the system was not built for us to succeed in any shape or form. The jails were made so that we can fail. The system was made so we can fail. And it just all needs to be redone, everything. Like even with the Ahmed Arbery and the man that was jogging,
Yes.
Those laws were set. How the laws are in Georgia, it's different in every state, and it just that those guys are, they're not going to get a lot of time because they're going to say, oh, well, we have the right to do a citizen's arrest, and we saw that he was trespassing, and then we could have self-defense. So it's just like that's not right how these laws are. It's just how the police are, and they just it's we have to have protests for them to get charged correctly. Like, I know people personally that get charged for something petty and do a long time, and then we have to fight for them to get charged for something they did. Is beyond a reasonable doubt. That's how the court said, this is beyond a reasonable doubt murder, and you killed him for no reason, and that's wrong. Period. Point blank. So yeah, I think the laws just really need to be changed, but it would just take everything to. I don't know if we just keep staying on it, or if we have to have a revolution, or I would hope that it doesn't come to violence. I don't know how Trump is, but honestly, I feel like if that's what's needed, hopefully not, then I feel like that's what needs to be done in order for my future kids, your future grandkids or great grandchildren to have the equality that we're supposed to have. But I just hope it doesn't come down to that. But at this point, a lot of other people that I've spoken to that are my friends, they are on the same page as me, where we're ready to do whatever means necessary by any means necessary to get what we deserve, because that's what's right. So that's how I feel about that. And just listening to you, Miss Rose, and your experience that you went through is just man, it's just crazy that you have to go through all of that, because hearing it from you instead of reading it in a book, it's just so more real, and it's just it's wrong. It's been going on forever, and I just you shouldn't have to see this. You shouldn't still have to be going through this.
Yeah, that's true. But it's just I think you're right about pushing forward. And I think if you pretty soon you're probably going to hear about it. It was like at the service, there is Al Sharpton was the one that did the part of the service, but there is a plan. And I think that's what really makes this different too, is you have to have a plan, not just say just like is wrong, and nothing, you're not really demanding anything of them. But
Right.
what they want to do is change the laws on, searching people. And that would be number one, of course, if they wouldn't have any reason. But I think, of all the things, you have to know your history. America has always been trying to make money off Black people. And they started out with slavery. I have people that was in plantations. After that, they did sharecropping. Then that came Jim Crow's laws. Then that came, now we're dealing with jails, housing all these people so they can make money on them and for all the labor that they do. So even if you finish and you get this out, be mindful that they already plotting the next thing of how they're going to be using it. Because if you look at history, you'll see how this whole thing continue to go down. They're going to always be focusing on how they never gotten over that we got out of slavery.
Yes.
And we want to make America great again. Do you know what that's all about? I knew how America was when she was great, when we was working for them for free. Who wouldn't want that? They'd fight like hell to keep that. That's what it's all about. And so if they can make some money on these prisoners that are sitting off in these jails, and they're making a private enterprise on that, for a long time, I thought it was our guys that was wrong doing stuff, but it's not that. You can pretty much see they all have records. They stripped them out of voting rights. That's number one. And they can never vote again. How important is that? They know how important it is. So they stripped them. Yeah, these people
Mhm.
do that time, we should be fighting for them to have voting rights again.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that is so true. And so that brings us to our next question of how should we participate in this movement? What do you feel is the best way or most effective way for us to participate in the movement? Anybody?
I think, and I hate to be talking all the time, but I
No,
think,
your words are so, please do not feel,
yeah, well,
please
anyway,
do not, please do not feel that you are
take up all the
taking up
time,
all
right,
the time at
right,
all.
right,
I
right.
feel, I don't know, I don't mean to speak for everyone, but I really feel honored to hear your words, and we need your words. We need our elders' words now.
Yes, yes, we do. We do.
Well, I think, all of us are in this together. It's not just Black people. And each one of us, are forever around anybody we meet, and we confront from day to day, is like you're connecting with that person in front of you. You're breaking down those barriers. You're breaking down those walls. That's what world peace is all about. And we may not be on the same page with somebody else, but we are human. We have that. And if you, like, some of the Chinese people, I think, are starting to see us in a different light. At one time they were all thinking that we was just thugs.
Yes, that's
But
true.
you keep that your next door neighbor may not be like you. Start mingling with those people and let them see that we are not those people that they are talking about. And we can all do that. All our associates, we are forever around different people. So yeah, get to know your next door neighbor, even though she's not the same as you. Get on a friendly term with that so they can see who we really are. And of course, yeah, keep that campaign, as any movements go up, join them. When the voting rights come around, we was out there passing our paper and going door to door, rustling some of those people that never voted before, and there's like a jinx or whatever. We didn't care. We just went there and told them, this is the only way we're going to change them. I'll go down there with you. Yeah, we brought them out like that. And you'd be surprised, they'll come off it if they see you out doing what you're doing, wanting to change.
That is just a true and so wonderful to hear. What do you feel, Angel or Naqueen Jones, of what should we do? How should we be participating?
For me, I believe that we need to support the younger people for sure. Definitely tap in with the elders, and those of us who have access to healing modalities should need to step up and be on the job, because there's none of us out here that are not feeling trauma right now. None of us, and especially the youth who may forget to rest, forget to be eating right, forget to take out a moment and check in with their mental health and check in with each other, because they just get so fiery, like how Angel was saying, how you have that fire right now, like you have the energy. And I know, because I just dipped off of that. Like now that I'm in my 40s, I'm like, I got a little less energy. But beginning to know the road more, as I get older, you see further, because you're like, I've been through that. I remember the riots. I remember, I'm talking LA. I'm from down there. I remember all of the times when people have gotten off and all of the uprisings, right? And I remember being burnt out. right? And we don't know how long. They say this isn't a race, it's a marathon, right? The marathon continues. So you need to keep up if you can get 8 hours of sleep, if you could make sure you get your smoothie, make sure you get your breaths in, and remind your comrades that are your age, like, yo, like maybe stay off of the junk for a minute, or give yourself a break from the social media. I feel like my age's responsibility is to hold you guys down, right? And also to like make you guys sandwiches, like, you know what I'm saying? Like remind you to take care of yourself, and those of us who have access. My daughter's over here. She's 14. She's asking me for food because I said that. Remind you to we need you, first of all. Don't overexert yourself, but and keep your network strong. You know what I mean? And also to protect those who need to be protected, because there are people who are out there that be, risking it a little more. We need to call ourselves forward if we're the ones who can protect those, and if we're the ones who aren't, maybe check ourselves and communicate better and say, okay, can you bring supplies or extra water, this kind of thing. I'm just saying, like, I'm here to remind you to keep your stamina up. I'm here to remind you to take care of yourself. That's my role in it right now.
And that is very essential reminders for our youth that you are not invincible. It's good to fight and run away so you could come back and fight another day. Thank you so much for those words as well. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Angel? Of what would be the best way you could participate from hearing everyone's words?
I'm still trying to, at the same time, I'm trying, Auntie Holly was telling me to remind myself that I'm still on my spiritual path as well. So I definitely agree with everything that McQueen, right? McQueen said. Yes, definitely, because I do be thinking I'm invincible. I'll be like, hold on, I'm having an anxiety attack right now. Like, yeah, that I'm trying to figure out what gifts I have. Like, okay, am I really good am I a protester or am I a caregiver? Like, what part I can help in this? Am I really good with the laws, which I feel like I am, because I've had I work as a clerk at a law firm, so I'm like, maybe I can help the movement in this type of way with my gift, because I might be better in that way than on this way. And I feel like that's what my heart is telling me to do, and I have some experience with that type of stuff, so I'm also trying to follow that path too. So I think if I know what my role would be, it would make things much easier and clearer for me personally, and to also just, like you said, to take my breaks, and I haven't been eating right. Like everything you said, I'm like, ooh. Because it's just in my head, like every day, like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? It's like, right, find out what my gift is so I can actually do something that is productive. So thank you for all of the wisdom, because we need some help. The youth we're like, all right, where do I put this energy? And to stay grounded is definitely key, like you guys said.
Yes, that is so true. I also believe that we must never forget prayer and the power of prayer, and that our prayers need to be strong and positive for the outcomes that we want. Yes. Does anyone else, any of the members, have anything they want to share? Because we've been on the call for almost 45 minutes now, and so we do want to honor everyone's time and wrap up our wonderful share out. And So do any of our collective members have anything you want to share?
More so just with so much gratitude for Mama Rose, for Sister the Queen, for our daughter, our niece Angel. Thank you for coming and sharing from your heart. I feel like I have sat in front and got to listen to Legacy, my peer, my my sister, the Queen, and then our future Angel. And so I just want to thank you all for taking this time and sharing from your hearts. I think we're all in agreement that this struggle, this movement is important. I've heard so many powerful things about being organized, about taking care of ourselves, about being strategic, about supporting our youth and those on the front line, and still our youth are asking for guidance, but also uplifting our elders. We can never forget the struggle that they went through and that they already went through it. And so to remember and to listen so that we don't burn out, fall down, or repeat, end up with another Trump, another 4 years. We have to listen so that we don't repeat. So I'm just in gratitude. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Well, I want to say thank you too, and it was a pleasure to meet all of you and hear you and hear your heart. You all said something that touched me in different ways, and I feel, looking like Asatu just said, at all of your different stages of your life, like the ages that you are, I either see an old me, a current me, or a future me. Do you know what I mean?
Nice.
I see you, and it's so beautiful to see
Nice.
you. 'Cause I see you there, and I say, oh my gosh, so when I'm older, I'm still gonna be strong. I might not be on the front lines, but I'm still gonna have in my mind, I'm still gonna be thinking that same way. So never forget it. And I just wanna say, this is a time for us to educate, is what I'm hearing. It was resounding, educate. There's never too late to learn something new about the movement, about what people did in the past. What do we need to do right now? What is relevant right now? What I hear is unity. This is a time to come together.
That's right.
As Mama Rose said,
That's right.
what the same people that were dressing up in those robes, you were going to their stores earlier in the day. Well, how about we don't go to their stores? We have the economic and consumer power to direct our money wherever we want to go. We have the power. And you know how you make them feel it? With the money, how you choose to spend your money. This is a time for us to come together. And I think we need to start coming together. We don't need one leader, one person. We just start needing to push on the right people, the politicians. There are people in office right now. We give them enough push and enough direction, they will go in our direction. We just need to come together and have clear organization. And as Asatu said, strategic plans moving forward. So we have done this marathon, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for coming and sharing with us. That's my piece, and I just want to say I love you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I enjoyed being with everybody, and I just want to throw this little piece in too. During that time, we also came together as a community and decided we weren't going to trade with nobody but the Black people. And that was a time that we brought them to their knees. It was just like we were, getting everything we needed. May not have been the top of anything, but whatever Mr. John had at his store and he was Black, that's where we were. And we came together as a community. But again, they have ways of infiltrating that. We got Miss Lou to come over to the back door and start trading. Another one came, and then eventually, we lost that grip. But the same thing, you're right. We could cripple this whole country if we didn't spend our money other than in places. We don't have that many Black businesses. But if we stop spending just for one day, they would be coming asking, what is it that you guys want? Because they want your business. They want money.
Yes.
Yeah. And that, you know, that builds upon how the system, like going back to the system and how it's capitalist, and what you said in the beginning, Mama Rose, is just like how the country was founded and how they basically want to make money off of everybody, you know, to try to keep everybody still enslaved. I also want to thank everyone that's on this call. It's been really inspiring for me to hear all the voices of our community members, and I think I just want to, like, you know, reiterate what some of you are saying is, like, you know, what is our role? Some of the things that you've been saying, you know, all of us have gone through that. You know, my son, you know, watching TV and trying to stay up, forgot to feed his 13-year-old daughter, you know, who then because of COVID, they needed to exercise, and she almost fainted. So, you know, and my grandchildren, you know, talking about what's going on and how they feel about the police, and you know, trying to wonder, like, what it is. And what that taught me was that it's a good time for us to talk to our family members, you know, especially the younger ones. You know, do they really know our stories? You know, in my family, we, my ex-husband and I, we were pretty active in the Mission District in San Francisco, and at that time there was a lot of police brutality, and it never stopped, really. But just to put it in perspective as it relates to what's going on now, you know, my children and my grandchildren didn't really know the story of what all the different things that we had been involved in. But at this time, you know, the youth are inspiring, and I think, Mama Rose, we have to pat you on the back, and everyone that's in this room, we have to pat ourselves on the back, because we did learn a lot of stuff from back in the day and even before, because this is just a long line of rebellion that's happened since the colonizers came and tried to take over the world. And I think that's why we're seeing globally that people have really had enough. Enough really is enough. And so the whole thing around unity is really important to me, you know, as a Filipino American, and watching my community and observing them discuss anti-Blackness within their families has been really interesting for me to watch, because in our family, we're mixed. We have so many people that are of all colors, and so we're not really necessarily dealing with that, but I'm observing, you know, other Filipinos. And for me, I got a lot of anger around that, honestly. So I appreciate the different people of color coming together, and a lot of the white people coming and supporting. I appreciate, you know, the white people that are learning about themselves and overcoming, you know, things within themselves that keep the system in place, and being supportive. I want to encourage those white people to continue to you know, break down what are those things that are, you know, that keep the system and the privilege going, because it has to end. You know, we're in a time where, because of how the world is with the environment, there isn't that much time. We also have to save the earth. You know, that's the other thing that's going on. You know, we could clean waters and everything else, you know, and it's, with COVID-19, it's pointed out how much, you know, all the people of color really are holding everything together. You know, me being involved in a lot of different international things, and looking to apartheid, and looking to Central America and Nicaragua, where, you know, my ex-husband's mother was from, is like, you know, systems can topple. And so I just want to, I'm so hopeful that all the generations are together, and I'm so hopeful, I'm really hopeful that different peoples are coming together. That's inspiring for me. And I want to also thank you, you know, and thank all of your relations, you know, everyone that you are, all of us are involved with, you know. It's that, I don't know who said it, but, you know, like when you put that, you throw that one little pebble into the pond of water and it ripples out. This is a huge ripple out. And I think we've been waiting for this for hundreds upon hundreds of years. And I'm so thankful that we're part of this. Thank you, sisters. I love you. And niece.
Yes.
So appreciate you on behalf of Luna Nueva. Thank you so much for joining us. We will continue our discussions one day.
Yes,
you.
we will. Thank you, Mama Rose. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Queen Jones. And I just have to say this because I was corrected. Mama Rose, Julia is not Isis's friend, but her best friend.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay. And so
That's a good
I,
one.
yes,
That's a good correction, Isis.
yes, I so appreciate, we all appreciate all of you coming on, and we look forward to furthering our discussion, because out of our 3 questions, we only were able to speak about 2 of them. So until next time, may we all stay strong, lifted, guided, and protected, and see you again.
Okay.
Thank you.